Good. It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Trying it again. Had a little coughing attack when I tried to start the last video. So I'm starting fresh. Today we're going to be talking about where these Detroit Pistons end up ranking by the end of the season. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the Ringers list of the top 100 players in the NBA, but no Jaden Ivey, no Asar Thompson, barely Jalen Duren. I think he's at number 97. 97. And so I want to have a little conversation about where we think these guys are going to end up ranking by the end of the season. Now, I know right now we have Cade Cunningham at number 16, and that feels pretty strong. That feels pretty strong. What's going on, Frank Nitty? What's good, man? It feels good to say Cade Cunningham is starting off the season ranked number 16. But for Jaden Ivey to not be ranked at all, and I get it. You got guys ahead of him. You got Jalen Green, Jordan Poole, Bradley Beal, guys who have done more, right? Been around longer. But I don't think for a moment that's where Jaden Ivey stays outside of the top 100 ranking. And so I want to go through each of the big four. Cade, Duren, apparently he has the highest ranking, second highest ranking out of the four. Then we're going to go Ivy, and then we're going to go Asar Thompson last. Where do we think they will rank by the end of the season, by the end of this upcoming 2025-2026 season? But before I dive in, if you haven't had a chance to already, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Hitting the like button is a small thing, but it's a big thing. It really helps out the channel. And it also makes sure the YouTube algorithm knows that you enjoy interactive live chats with me. So do that for me. I appreciate it as we proceed. Let's start off at the top. Cade Cunningham. I got to scroll all the way back to the top. I was down by 100. Got to get all the way back to 16. I want to look at some of the guys that are above Cade at 16. Because if I'm honest with you, I think that by the end of the season, he could easily be ranked more than most of them, higher than most of them. When I look at the number one spot by Nikola Jokic, I don't think Cade is taking that spot anytime soon. Number two, SGA. I think he's pretty much solidified there. MVP, Finals MVP, League MVP, NBA champion. I think he's going to stay there. Number three, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't think Cade is passing him. Luka Doncic. Now it gets interesting. Frank Nitty, you just said you think Cade gets into the top 5 or top 7? I think so too. But let's take a look at who is ahead of Cade right now in the ranking. And this is according to the Ringers top 100. You got Luka at number 4. At 26 years old, he's in his 6th season. It says it has his height listed at 6'7", weight 230 pounds. Apparently, after a season with LeBron, half a season with LeBron, he's now dedicated to the game. And it looks like he's about to be skinny Luka. And it's funny because I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of skinny Luka when he was a rookie or a sophomore. That sophomore, he starts getting a little bit more pudgy. But his rookie season, when he was slim, ready to run up and down the court, he was kind of a monster. He was pretty scary. He was able to get absolutely anywhere he wanted to go, showed a bit more explosiveness, and definitely had the ability to kind of maneuver through small spaces in the way that we see that Cade is able to. So it's going to be interesting to see if Cade can circumvent Luka at that number 4 spot, especially if they make a deep playoff run, which is never really out of the question. Even the bubble, he looked good. Yeah, facts. Stephen Curry, number 5. Number 5. I think they're counting more aspects, not just stats, not just winning anymore when it comes to Stephen Curry, but also the show that he puts on, right? And I think that is another step when it comes to being a top-ranked player. Can you put on a show? Can you be a featured attraction? Can you be the guy on a headline that when you walk into Atlanta, Charlotte, Memphis, Toronto, Utah, that you're the headliner, that people are going to show up to that game to see you? right? That many times is a big differentiator when it comes to getting into these top five, top tens. Are you a draw? Are you the household name that everyone is wanting to go see? And I think that there's a chance that he's able to get there. I got my summertime melon water. Delicious. Let me see. Number six, Anthony Edwards. Now, let's be clear. Anthony Edwards is 100% a show. He's showtime. He's prime time. He's the guy that you go to see, whether he is your favorite player or he's playing against your favorite player. You want to see him play because of the things that you know he can do on the court. Not just his skill, his talent, but the performance that he puts on. You know, at any given moment, he might climb that ladder and dunk on your favorite player or your big man or just about anybody else. He might clear them all together, jumping completely over their shoulders and head and dunk on them. He might hit 6 threes, 7 threes in a game, right? He might cross you up, get your favorite player backpedaling, falling on their butt, and knock down a shot. He puts on a show and he plays hard. He's a competitor. And I think that Anthony Edwards at at number six, I think it's pretty solid. Now, I also wouldn't be shocked if Anthony Edwards continues to take steps forward as well, right? And is able to circumvent guys like Luca, Steph, and Curry. But they're all in that class together. They're all in that grouping. Number seven, we have Tyrese Halliburton. Now, here's the thing. I don't quite agree with this. Fantastic player. One, he's going to be out all next season. Secondly, I don't know if he is as talented as much as his talent has matched the system. Like, he's talented, but the seventh best player in the NBA, I don't know if he's that talented. And so I would be a little bit hesitant. What's good, Sandro? What's good, man? I would be definitely hesitant to say Tyrese Halliburton is ranked number seven. Can Cade leapfrog him? Hell yes. Hell yes. And this is where it begins to get interesting. You got number eight, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, man, I love the explanation here. It says scores whenever and however he wants. Athlete of the league's top offense. Yeah. Yeah. Score whenever he wants, however he wants. He's one of those dudes. He's one of those guys. And I think that acknowledging that, I think it's something that Cade can look to and say, like, this is how I get my name up there. This is how I get to the MVP candidacy. This is how I get to the position where people are looking at me as a legitimate top 10 player. It isn't just about your capability, right? Being able to score at will, but it's also about being able to advance your team in the playoffs. Remember, Donovan Mitchell has had deep runs in the Western Conference. In the Western Conference, not just the East. In the Western Conference, he's been a top 10 player for the past, what, maybe 5 years? He kind of came in as a rookie looking like a top 10, 15 player, right? And so I think Donovan Mitchell is pretty much solidified here. His jump in his seventh season at 28 years old really is just going to be, can he get to that pinnacle? Can he get to that NBA Finals? Can he get to the Eastern Conference Finals? And if he does, I think we'll see him move up this ladder as well. Tyrese Halliburton is probably the most vulnerable for being moved out of this top eight so far. And then we got Jalen Brunson. Now, here's the thing. He's a bucket. We get it. We get it. He's a winner. We get it. At the same time, 6'2", doesn't play defense. And I get it. He also plays in New York. When you play in the Mecca, you're going to get that boost. But I would say he's definitely vulnerable to get surpassed. Definitely. Because I would not put him in the class of scores of a Donovan Mitchell. Stephen Curry, not quite. Haven't seen it yet. And so I definitely would say Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson are probably the most vulnerable to be leapfrogged for Cade Cunningham. Get some of these comments real quick. Sandro, what's good, man? Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate that, man. Uh Devon Ambitious was good. Let me see if I could read this full. It's gonna let me read the full comment. Donovan Mitchell was supposed to be D Wade 2.0. I think he is. I think he is. I think he's probably as close as we'll get. But keep in mind that D Wade was 6'5", not 6'1" and change. And he was a monster on defense. A monster on defense. But I think if we're also clear, I think playing in a different era also impacted Wade in terms of injuries. He was a downhill driver who figured out his jump shot late. So I think Donovan Mitchell has him beat offensively, but defensively, D Wade is just a different caliber of player. And when it comes to leadership, he's just a total, on just a totally different level. And he got help along the way. He got more help. He had a Shaquille O'Neal when he was still in his prime, late prime, but in his prime still. And then later on, LeBron James and Chris Bosh. So that's how he was able to solidify himself. But we all saw early peak Wade was absolutely incredible. And I don't know if Donovan Mitchell has ever gotten there. But it's also D Wade is a two-way player. And I think that Donovan Mitchell would do well to buy into that. Because I think until him and Garland can improve as defenders, I think there's a ceiling on this Cavs team. Truly do. But let's get to the rest of this list because I want to get to Cade to start kind of having an idea of where we think he could end up by the end of the season. Sanderson, let me see. Are you finna impale motherfuckers with that hairline? I got you, bro. I got you, bro. All right. So let me see. We got Jason Tatum at number 10. Once again, another guy who's going to be out for the full season. 27 years old, seventh season. He consistently does his thing. A little bit less than what we all want, but he's definitely one of those guys where, you just got to respect his game at 6'8", 6'9". Now he's up to about 230 pounds at least. I think he's just one of those players that is going to be good for a long time because his game isn't necessarily dependent upon athleticism. So I also fully see him being able to come back from this Achilles tear and be an absolute beast. It's going to take him a year. It's going to take him a year to come back and get into his rhythm. But I think the following year, maybe 2 years, that 26, 27, I'm sorry, 27, 28 season, I think is when we're going to see the real bounce back. And he should be about 30 years old, then 29, 30. Number 11, Victor Wembanyama. If I'm honest, Victor Wembanyama may end up top 5 by the end of the season. He's just that talented. 21 years old, going into his third season. He's just an absolute phenomenal talent. We haven't seen anything like him since Ralph Sampson, since Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He is just an absolute anomaly. He is an absolute anomaly. And his defensive impact, along with his offensive skill, I think the more that he puts the game together mentally, that is the only thing stopping him. It is the only thing stopping him. It's not about getting stronger. It's not about he has to get better in any one particular area. It's more about just understanding what he needs to do when, how to take advantage of certain looks and opportunities, how to maximize his efficiency and potential on the floor. And I love what San Antonio has done with him. Had him shooting a whole bunch of threes just to get him used to it. What we're talking about, a bit slow here. We're talking about where we think the Detroit Pistons BIG-4, Cade, Ivy, Duran, Asar, or I should say Cade, Duran, Ivy, Asar, rank by the end of the season. That's what we're talking about today. So we're going through the Ringers top 100 players for this upcoming 25-26 season. And we're looking at right now where we think Cade Cunningham may end up ranking by the end of this season. Let me see. Only injuries will derail Wemby. Yeah, facts. Facts. So I think Wemby ends up probably top 5. Then we got LeBron James at number 12. Man, I think this man could be 172 and still be top 50. I just think he's just too damn skilled, bro. His knowledge of the game, control, mastery of the game, how he thinks and processes the game. He's able to impact the game in just so many ways, man. Whether he wants to play on the interior, whether he wants to play on the perimeter, play point guard, power forward, center, small forward, whether he wants to turn on the defensive jets, whether he wants to just focus on offense and kind of pace his way through the season. He just has too much damn skill. And it's something that I have to do a video about eventually because we've never seen a player do what he's done from beginning to end. I think the closest thing we've ever seen has probably been Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He came out, if people understand history of the game, he came out with a lot of fanfare, and I'm talking about high school, early in high school, back when New York was still not just the mecca of basketball, but that's where really all the top players not only came out of, but made their way to prove themselves. So if you were good, you wanted to prove yourself at Rucker Park. You wanted to prove yourself on the streets of New York and prove that you could hoop with the best. And NBA players would go there. Dr. J would go there, right? Wilt, World Be Free, um, uh, uh, what's his name? Earl the Pearl Monroe. These guys hoop there all summer. That's where you cut your teeth if you thought you were somebody. Lou Alcindor, who later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, from beginning to end, from high school through college, through the NBA, from the beginning when he stepped foot in the NBA to when he left, was an all-time great. That is something that, bro, it's just rare. And so I think I'm gonna do a video eventually on how I rank players because it's something to be said to be great from beginning to end versus it took me 2, 3, 4 years to figure it out. Having expectations coming in to I'm catching people off guard, right? Like these are the differentiating factors. This is what I look to when I start ranking my best players. And so I'm going to do a video on that later. But LeBron James at 12, look, by the end of next season, I don't see him dropping below 15. You know, that's just him continuing to do what he does. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Now, the next three that we have after LeBron, we have Anthony Davis in Dallas. I think he's going to ball out. Kevin Durant now in Houston. I think he's going to ball out. Kawhi Leonard at 15. I think he's going to ball out. And then we come to Cade Cunningham at number 16. Now, here's the thing. Cade Cunningham can legitimately pass those guys because he will carry a heavier load. He will be the offensive initiator. He will be the fulcrum. He will be the engine. LeBron won't be the engine. That'll be Luka. AD won't be the engine. That's kind of a Kyrie thing. It's kind of the system. But he is the one who anchors that defense. But I don't know. He kind of just stays in that top 10 to 15 based on however he plays throughout the previous year. But his talent keeps him there no matter what. But he's never necessarily that leader, the one who's initiating everything. You can play through him. But because of injuries and stuff like that, it just always seems like there's a limitation and ceiling on just how high you can rank him. Though he has been a top 5 before for several years throughout his peak. But I don't think he necessarily climbs this ladder any further. Kawhi Leonard, he's great. Great player. But I don't think he'll ever get back to that peak. Right now, the Clippers are just betting on, hey, let's keep him healthy for a playoff run. Still a great player. If I, in my guesstimation, had to say, Cade Cunningham takes a leap. I think he cracks the top 10. I see Wembenyama probably jumping to number 7. Stephen Curry is going to be Stephen Curry still. Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum out for the season. I can see Wemby getting into that top 7. You got Donovan Mitchell. And this is where I would say Cade Cunningham could surpass Jalen Brunson. I think he's a better talent. I think he's a better talent than even Donovan Mitchell. But he's got to win. And when I say he's got to win, he's got to be third, no lower than fourth seeded in the Eastern Conference. Pistons have to finish probably about 50 plus wins. And he's got to be the reason why they go from round one to round two. If he does that, he can end the season somewhere around 9 and jump into the top 10. Let me know what you think in the comment section. But I totally think Cade Cunningham, and it's not just about stats anymore. It's not just about can he be all NBA. I think we've accepted that he's that level of talent. He's going to be all NBA for a long time. Can he make his teammates better? Can he lead a young team? Can he elevate his team's play? Can he ensure that they are able to get the most out of Duran, Ivy, and Asar while continuing to be great? That is going to be the litmus test. That's going to be the difference maker. Because it's through that they get to that number 3, number 4 seed. That's how they get there. That's how they get there. Now I'm going to go through the rest. It's a whole lot of names, but I want to throw it out there just so we have an opportunity to get to Duran at 97. It's just crazy that they got Duran at 97. I get it. He had a horrific first half of the year last season. Great second half. Really great playoff performance in round one. He's got a lot to prove, and so does Ivy. And this is likely why they haven't resigned yet. Because if you're the 97th ranked player, if you're not even in the top 100, how are you worth more than $25 million a year? That's a real question. That is a real question. Now we can project based upon improvements and signs that we've seen and things of that nature. We can take a look and say, hey, you know what? There's a good chance that they make this leap. Yeah. But when it comes to business, we've also seen guys fall off. We've also seen guys not recover from injuries. We've also seen guys struggle to get out the gate, to buy into the system, to gel with their superstar player, Cade Cunningham, right? We've seen guys in the past struggle, not make the leap. So teams have as much hesitation as they do optimism. And when you're thinking of an investment, you should be shrewd in that regard. Hey, I would be remiss to not bring up my hesitations. And the counter argument is not just the flashes, not just the projections based upon the flashes, but also to say, I'm willing to bet on me. You're going to have to risk potentially losing me. Oh, yeah. Last season, I think he was ranked at 67, I think it was. Yeah. Let me see, Sandro. Frank, okay, you got a whole bunch of comments here. Hang on 1 second. Let me see. Well, Cade is an all-star, so he's clearly up there. I think Ivy rivals Cade to a degree. Not better, but still. So I think minimum 2 of them are 100% up there, and the other 2 have a shot, I believe. Frank Nitty, nobody has held the torch as long as LeBron. No. Facts. That is facts. That is facts. Kareem is the closest. Sandro, AD finally a power forward, so he might become greater than Tim Duncan. 5 straight rings, laughing my ass. Yeah. AD's never going to pass Tim Duncan. He should have, but he's never had the durability. And that's one thing that when you look at the guys who've been at the top of the Mount Rushmore, LeBron, MJ, Kareem, durability was a huge, huge factor. Huge factor. Let's look. D. Mitch and Brunson don't really do a lot outside of scoring. No hate, but Cade is more versatile. That's not everything, because if we go by that, then prime Simmons is better than prime Steph. But yeah, uh, I'll say this: Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson do more than just score. When you are able to be your team's leading scorer, playoff level leading scorer, it takes pressure off everyone else. I'll put it this way. If OG Anunoby was their best scorer, are they a playoff team? Probably not. If Karl Anthony Towns was their best player, best scorer, are they a playoff team? Judging from Minnesota, I would say probably not. Right? So these are things to consider. Now, I will also say if Garland has Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and let's say Karis LeVert and uh, Max Strus, are they a playoff team? I'd probably say yes. Do they get out the first round? I'd probably say no. Right? It would be a dogfight to get out the first round. Having Donovan Mitchell elevates them to a potential championship contender. That's the impact that Brunson and Donovan Mitchell have. That's why they've still edged out Cade Cunningham. So that is something that he is going to have to prove he can do. Not only am I going to get my team back to the playoffs, not only are we going to finish at a higher seeding than we did the previous year, but we're also going to be able to get out of the first round. And I'm going to be a major reason why, because of how I manage the game, how I make my teammates better, and how I help us win when it matters the most. That's how Cade gets into the top 10. All right. I'm going to run through these names quick. Try to stay with me. You ready? Here we go. Evan Mobley at number 17. Karl Anthony Towns at 18. Devin Booker, 19. Jalen Williams, 20. Jaylen Brown, 21. Paolo Banchero, 22. Maybe a little bit low for Paolo. Pascal Siakam, 23. Jimmy Butler, 24. Jaren Jackson Jr., 25. De'Aaron Fox, 26. Chet Holmgren, 27. Darius Garland, 28. I'll be honest. When we get to Chet Holmgren, that's probably the moment I start thinking maybe Duren gets into the 20s. Maybe Jalen Duren gets into the 20s. My glory Serbian better be number one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jokic is ranked number one. I already went through that earlier. But can Jalen Duren get into the 20s? Chet Holmgren is at 27. Now, I'm not saying Jalen Duren and Chet Holmgren are the same player at all. Completely different. What I look at is their potential impact on games. Can Jalen Duren prove that he could be a night in, night out force on the interior? Look, you don't need to be the defensive stalwart that Chet Holmgren is. But can you be a consistent 14 to 18 points per game, 10 to 12 rebounds per game, and a block or two with a few assists? You give me 16, 12, 3 assists, and a block and a half on great efficiency, meaning 60 something plus percent from the floor, 70 plus percent from the free throw line. I think he could do that in about 30 minutes per game. I think you're a top 30 player. I think you are a top 30 player. Keep in mind, Chet Holmgren missed a huge chunk of last season and still was able to finish at number 27. So this is probably where I kind of have him. Darius Garland, electric point guard. Yep. Fifth season, age 25 at number 28. Jamal Murray at number 29. James Harden at 30. I think people don't talk about the fact that I think Duren and Ivy finna be a nasty combo and duo. I think so as well. I think so as well. It would take an otherworldly jump for Duren to jump into the top 30. You think so? You think if Duren averages what you know what? Tell me in the chat. What do you think Jalen Duren would have to average next season to get into the top 30? All right. Keep in mind what Chet Holmgren averaged last season. Now I know he has an impact defensively that the metrics and the analytics love, and I do too. I don't diminish it at all. But if Duren's giving you 16 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, close to 2 blocks a game on great efficiency, I can see it. I can see it. Okay, let's go to the 30s. Domantas Sabonis. Perfect timing. They list him here at 6'11". He's 6'9.5" without shoes. Keep that in mind. With about a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. They describe him as a rock solid center with dominant regular season statistics. But greater question about his postseason fit. Domantas Sabonis is at 31. Let me see. Frank Nitty. Okay, you're saying uh, Jalen Duren will need to average 14 points and 12 rebounds to get into the top 30. Okay. Sandro, you're saying 18 points, over 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and just be a winning player, I think. Pick him over Sabonis. I can see that as well. Jalen Duren, 14, 12, and 2 will get him top 30. Yeah. You know what? I'll be honest. I think Asar Thompson unlocks Duren defensively. I think he becomes a top. I don't think he becomes a top defender. I think he becomes a more than adequate, slightly above average defender playing alongside of Asar Thompson. I completely think that. Completely. If I am JB Bickerstaff, I have strong considerations about playing uh Asar and Duran together for the overwhelming majority of the time. Let me see. Jalen Duran is the key. He needs to just be solid. What Devon, what do you think Jalen Duran needs to average to crack the top 30 next season? Let me know in the chat. Now I also want to pull up, go like this. Domantas Sabonis' stats for last season. Let's just take a look. Let's just take a gander. Let's just take a gander. Let's take a quick gander. Domantas Sabonis averaged last season. Let's see here. All right. Sacramento. Domantas Sabonis averaged 19, 14, and 6. Damn. Damn. That's some stats. That's stats. And he's done this. Woo. He's averaged about, let me see. He's averaged 18 and a half, 20, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, and 19 since his, since his 1920 season. So since he was 23 years old. Duren is only 22. So there's a good chance he takes the jump next season. But if he can get to 14, he might have to get over 14 points per game, man, if I'm honest. If I'm looking at this again, Duren might have to get over 14 points. He's going to have to get to 16 plus points per game, definitely over 10 rebounds, 3 assists. Because when Domantas Sabonis averaged 14, 9, and 3, he was a 6th man of the year candidate. So if we're talking about leapfrogging Domantas Sabonis next season, he's going to have to put up numbers. But I also think his defensive impact, if he gets about 2 blocks, close to 2 blocks a game, I think that's how he takes that jump over Sabonis. If he shows that he's a two-way player and then shows up in the playoffs, which, granted, Domantas Sabonis has consistently struggled in the playoffs. Let me see. JD is the key. Needs to just be solid. Yep. Let me see. Who you taking over Duren in the top centers this upcoming season? I only have a few over him. I think there's only a few ranked over him right now. You got Wemby. You got Sabonis. Well, actually, no, there's a lot ranked over him right now. But of those that I've already read, you have Karl-Anthony Towns, Chet Holmgren, Domantas Sabonis. Even though Chet is more of a power forward than he is a center. Let me actually pull up the list that they have. You have Jaren Jackson, DeMontis, Chet, Karl Anthony Towns, Evan Mobley. These guys are kind of power forwards too. AD plays a little center. You got Wemby. Yeah, it looks like for the most part, other than you got Jokic. You got Jokic. Oh, and Giannis, who I think is a good chance he plays some center, a lot of center this year as well. Let's just say, let's just say, there's a few people above him. I think as a hardcore center, only playing center, I may not have as many. But let's get to the rest of this list. In the 30s, we have Domantas Sabonis 31, Bam Adebayo at 32. There's somebody to think about. Can he jump? Can he jump Bam Adebayo? That's a real question. Um, even though Bam's gonna be playing mostly power forward now, especially now that they got Khalil Ware. Then you got Trey Young, John Morant, Ivica Zubac at 35. That is somebody I also believe he can jump. If I'm looking at what does Zubac average last season? Zubac averaged pull it up real quick. Yeah, 17 and 12. 17 and 12, 2.5 assists. This is the stat line that I'm thinking Duran needs to get to. 16, 17 points, 12 rebounds, and over a block a game. And I think he can get to that 2.7 assists, 3 assists a game. If he gets to that stat line, he might be at 35, 36. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because I want to see the rest of this list so we can have an idea where we think Duran can land by the end of this season. After Zubac, we got Alperen Şengün. I'm going to be honest. As much as I like Şengün, I think Duran can be better. I think Duran can be better. I do. I do. If I look at what Şengün averaged last season, go like this. Houston, Alperen Şengün. What did he average last season? He averaged 19, 10, and 5. Okay. So now we're starting to get a gist of what it looks like to be a top 40 player. Center. Right? Alperen Şengün was not necessarily great on defense. At 22 years old, he averaged 19, 10, and 5. Keep in mind, last season, the season before last, he averaged 21, 9, and 5. Less than a block, but he did average over a steal per game. Can Jalen Duren hit those numbers or close to it? If he gets to 17, 18, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and close to 2 blocks, I think he can. Especially if the Detroit Pistons get to that number 3 or number 4 seed. If he proves that he is a major component of this team winning and getting to that position, I would not be shocked at all if he's ranked above Alperen Şengün. But keep in mind also, some of these guys have been doing it for years. Outside of Ivica Zubac, who took a real big jump offensively last year, playing alongside James Harden and under Tyronn Lue, which most veterans do great under Tyronn Lue. So I'm excited to see what Bradley Beal comes back as. All that's to say is, I definitely think Duran can jump him at 36. Then we got Franz Wagner at 37, Derek White at 38, Tyrese Maxey at 39, OG Anunoby at 40. If I'm honest with you, this is where I think Duran gets to next season. And this may be something to even like pivot on for even another video. Can Duran become a top 40 player? He's ranked at 97 right now. You can call it disrespectful. You can call it absurd, but he's got to prove it. The flashes, the talent, as an optimistic Pistons fan, someone who has high hopes and optimism for what this team can do. It's hard for me to say that your flashes validate what players have done over consecutive years. Let me say that again. It is hard for me to say that your flashes of brilliance, of talent, of ability circumvents what other guys have done over multiple years. Keep in mind, Domantas Sabonis has been 20 and 10 with over 5 assists for maybe the past 8 seasons, bro. You may not be the playoff performer that you want, but damn it, he's good. And he's been an all-star for a while. He's been leading a team for a while. Alperen Şengün, he's got at least 2 years of 20 and 10. So if he's going to get there, I think that's his benchmark. Getting into that top 40. I think he's better than OG Anunoby. Overall impact and talent. I think he can get there. This is a question I have. What do you think? Do you think Jalen Duren can end up top 40? What do you think his stat line is to be able to do so? Now that I read out some of the stat lines of some of the other centers that are ranked above him in the top 40, where do you think Jalen Duren lands? What do you think his stat line is? Let me know in the chat. Now let's get to Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson. I'm going to combine them because neither of them were ranked at all in the top 100. I don't think it's absurd. Neither of them put together a full season, which is kind of a really big indicator of how you're viewed. If you can't put together a full season of productivity, it's hard to just give you that benefit of the doubt. It's hard to just say, oh, yeah, he's a really good player. This is what he's going to do when you haven't shown it. When you haven't shown it. Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey. Now, look, we've already had the conversation. I'm going to start at 37 with Franz Wagner. I'm already on record. Yes, consistency is key. I am on record. Yeah, remember, stats are not everything. That is big facts. I am on record saying that I think Asar Thompson is better than Franz Wagner. I do. I think he's a better talent. He has not been more productive, nor as consistent. But I think he's a better talent. And I think he ends up becoming a better player. This is where I start for Asar Thompson at around 37. I'm going to be honest with you. Look, hey, they describe Franz Wagner as 6'10", 220-pound, forward, age 23, season 3, natural, well-rounded creator who never shies away from a challenge. Totally true. Totally true. I think Asar can be better. The things that Asar Thompson are able to do is just absurd. It's otherworldly. The things that Franz does is really good. Really good. I don't see otherworldly. Let me see here. I'm going to look up what Franz Wagner put up last season. And go to Orlando Magic. Franz Wagner. He averaged 24, 5, and 5, essentially. 24, 5, and 5. And he averaged 1.3 steals, 0.4 blocks. Really good efficiency. Not from the three-point line. Under 30% the second year in a row. Really hasn't shot the three ball well since his first 2 seasons. And Struggled a bit shooting from the field, 48%, 46%. What would it take for Asar Thompson to leapfrog him? I don't know if it happens next season, if I'm honest. More than likely, I think Asar Thompson takes the leap and surpasses Franz Wagner over the next 2 to 3 years. Remember, Franz Wagner was drafted before Asar, has about a year on him. So keep all that in mind. I still think Asar Thompson gets to that level of player in about 2 years. I don't know if he'll be the scorer, but I think his impact on the game will be at that level. I think it is foreseeable that Asar Thompson becomes a top 40 player next season. I do. Now, the stat line, that's the question. What is the stat line he's going to have? Because, I do agree with you, Sandro. It's more than just about stats, it's beyond the stats. 22, 5 and 5, 50, 40, 85%, great defense or something around that. I don't think he needs to do all that. I don't even think he needs to do all that, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he needs to get that high in terms of scoring. Um, Putting all my money on Jaden Ivey stock, and we are about to get to that in a second. Let me see. You stocks on Ivy. Leading Lions was good, my man. Was good. By the way, smash the like button for me. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Really helps out with the channel if you're enjoying this live. We are asking ourselves, where do the Pistons' BIG-4 rank in the top 100 by the end of this season? We are going off of the Ringer's top 100 list. Right now, we did Cade Cunningham. We think he can get into the top 10. He's got to get this team to that number 3, number 4 seed and into the second round to do so. Jalen Duren, we think he could get into that 30s, competing with Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis. But he's got to put up a stat line of around 16, 14, 3 assists, and about 2 blocks. He's got to show the defensive impact and then have it translate into the playoffs. Now we're getting to Asar Thompson and Jaden Ivey. I think Asar Thompson ends up being better than Franz Wagner. I don't know if it happens next season, though. I don't know if it, but I tell you this much. By the end of next season, everyone else will see it too. Everyone else will be looking at Asar Thompson and be like, yeah, I could see him surpassing him. I could see Asar Thompson being a top, if I dare say, top 15, 20 player. We will be able to see it because the flashes that he's shown, and I keep saying this, his jump is not about scoring and shooting the ball more. It's about getting his timing down, his rhythm, his recognition, so that he can put together all the things that he's already shown the ability to do. This is not about shooting more threes. Just put it all together. What you've already shown you can do. You'll be starting from the beginning of the year. You have a role, you know the system, you have the same coach, you understand the expectations. This is what I foresee for Asar Thompson. He's going to end up with somewhere between 14 to 16 points per game, somewhere between 6 to 8 rebounds, 3 to 5 assists, and most importantly, about 4 stocks per game. 4 stocks per game. That will be the differentiating factor. He'll be first team all defense. All he needs is 65 games. First team all defense. Over 4 stocks per game. That is steals and blocks combined. If Asar Thompson does that, he'll be in the top 40 ranking. He won't get an all-star berth, I don't think. Not yet. I think there's a lot of other forwards in front of him. Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Evan Mobley. You got Jalen Johnson. You got a whole lot of other forwards. But he's going to be on the fringe. Now, if there's injuries, don't be shocked. But keep in mind, he's also got Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner above him too, who are looking to make those all-star bids. All they need is 65 games too, right? Um, and so there's a lot of forwards to compete with. But after next season, it will be a consensus. Oh, we see it. We see where he's headed. We see what he can do. Let me see. Uh, you think his scoring needs to be over 20? I don't think it needs to be over 20. Anyone who gives you over 4 stocks per game is different. When you're doing 6 to 8 rebounds, over 2 steals, close to 2 blocks per game, and you're impacting the game as a first team all defensive player, this is where we start to look at you different. And considering that he's going to have other talents around him, like Cade, Ivy, Duran, they're going to understand that he's sharing the ball. He's not the primary offensive option. Teams are going to recognize that his impact goes beyond scoring. And that's how he will be evaluated. Now, keep in mind this: Derek White is at number 38. He's 30 years old in season 7. He's described as everyone's favorite teammate, sniffs out winning plays, binds a lineup together, doesn't take a single thing off the table. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I could see Asar Thompson leapfrogging him by the end of the season. All right. This is a winning player, does winning things. Asar Thompson does that as well. Let's look at what Derek White was putting up last season for the Boston Celtics. Derek White, who is now 31 years old, averaged 16, essentially 5 and 5, 4.5 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 16, 5 and 5. His biggest claim to fame: winning basketball and his defensive impact. Now, a lot of that is also playing next to Drew Holiday, playing with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, right? Because the players around you also greatly impact your defensive potential and impact. I'll say this: Derek White is probably most primed to regress a little bit, taking a step back. No Porzingis. Al Horford, we'll see if he's still there next season. No Jason Tatum. Introducing Anthony Simons, who's going to need the ball more, learning to play off of another player, not necessarily having that defensive backcourt partner. He's going to have a much different role coming into the next season. It's going to look different. He will likely regress in terms of overall impact, statistical measurements, things of that nature. I can completely foresee Jaden Ivey even looking at that spot. And this is where the conversation starts for Jaden Ivey. Let me look at the rest of the players beneath him. You got Derek White at 38, Tyrese Maxey at 39. All right, in the 4th season, 24 years old. I think this is the type of player that Jaden Ivey becomes. Tyrese Maxey type of a player. Use your speed. He's bigger than him. Tyrese Maxey is listed at 6'2", 200 pounds. Jaden Ivey is about 6'5", 205. What's going on, Rodney? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the love and the super chat, brother. Where do you think, specifically, where do you think Jaden Ivey, what is the highest you think Jaden Ivey is able to get to in terms of ranking for next season? See, Sandro, I agree on Asar being more impactful, more of a winning player than Franz Wagner, though Masu actually paid attention this time. Yeah, I'll say this. Franz is no slouch. I just think Asar has that it factor, that um, Sean the Matrix Marion, the Scottie Pippen, the trying to think of my other comparison, the Andre Iguodala. He's just different, bro. He's just different. He's built different. He just is. Let me see. Rodney, question for you, fam. I see Cade, Asar, and Ron will be the three perimeter threats leading this team when they are contending. Your thoughts on that? Also been following, love the content. I appreciate that, Rodney. Appreciate that, man. Let me see. Are you suggesting that this team moves on from Duran and Ivy by the time that they make their championship run? Is that what you are forecasting? If you are, with that argument, I can say, yes, I can see those three being at the core for a championship run. If they are still on the team, I don't think Ron Holland has as big of a role. I just don't. But I can understand what you're getting at. The new collective bargaining agreement, how it squeezes out teams for drafting well, I think it's something that potentially gets changed before they get squeezed off the team. And I think they figure out a way to keep them. Even if you're signing Jalen Duren at 35, Jaden Ivey at 35 instead of 25, I think they figure out a way to keep them on the team, especially when the salary cap continues to escalate. That contract won't look as bad. Let me see. Leading Lions, what's going on, man? Why does everyone say Derek White is better than Jaden Ivey? Because I think productivity and overall impact versus potential talent, I think is what they're arguing. Keeping in mind, though, I think this is the part that I have to remind them is that Derek White is 31 years old. He's 31. Jaden Ivey is 22. Derek White would never have the role that Jaden Ivey could be given. And at the same time, Jaden Ivey could do Derek White's role 10 times over. Now, I don't think he has the same processing of the game because he can play a different role, so he plays different. He doesn't necessarily think floor general because he's naturally a shooting guard. So you're comparing kind of, I don't want to say apples and oranges, it's like apples and pears, oranges and grapefruits, right? There's a significant difference between them. But the talent and potential, Derek White is nowhere near. Derek White, I don't think will ever be an all-star level player. Jaden Ivey could be an all-star level player in 2 years. Right? So that's the difference for me. Let me see. Sandro, he has to show it. Facts. And because of the injury to Ivy, they're not giving him the respect yet. That's completely true. Rodney, Amen Thompson equals Grant Hill. Asar Thompson, Scottie Pippen. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. Wow, that Grant Hill might be a really good comparison for Amen Thompson and Scottie Pippen for Asar Thompson. I can see both of those. I can see both of those. Next season will tell. I think next season will tell big time. Let me see. Rodney, what's good, man? Not Durant, but would like Ivy being a super sub like Manu. You know what? I don't think Ivy is a six man at all. At all. He's just far too talented. He's far too talented. That combination of shooting and explosive athleticism and positional size at 6'5", 6'9" wingspan is rare. Is rare. Most players that are that explosive don't shoot that well. Most players that shoot that well are not that explosive. You combine the two. That's where we start looking at guys like Donovan Mitchell. Literally. Jaylen Brown. When you have those elements as an athlete, it's just a different level of player, a different ceiling. If Jaden Ivey bets on himself, and this is a question for the chat, what do you think Ivy will have to average next season to get into that top 40 ranking? Granted, he's got Tyrese Maxey ahead of him. He's got Derek White ahead of him. OG Anunoby at 40. Amen Thompson at 41. Right? And I keep saying Asar Thompson is very Amen Thompson-esque. And we'll have similar numbers. You got Aaron Gordon at 42. Damian Lillard at 43. Kyrie Irving at 44. Zion Williamson at 45. Scotty Barnes, 46. Desmond Bane, 47. Jalen Johnson, 48. LaMelo Ball, 49. Draymond Green, 50. Tyler Hero, 51. I completely can see a world where both Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson are getting into those 40s. Completely. I'm curious, though. Let me know in the chat. What do you think Jaden Ivey needs to average next season to get into that top 50, get into the 40s rankings for next season or by the end of the season? What do you think he needs to average? In my guesstimation, it would be somewhere along the lines of 22 points per game, maybe 4 to 5 rebounds, 4 to 5 assists on really good efficiency. Yeah. 22, 5 and 5, 50, 40, 85%. Great defense or something around that. Great defense, I think, is the difference maker. And that, honestly, for Duren and Ivy, that is the difference maker. Can you trust these two on defense? Because to win championships, we already know you need defense. It's got to be on the defensive end. If they're locked in on defense while putting up their offensive production, I think they become $35 million players. I just do. Two-way players are hard to come by. Two-way all-star level players are extremely hard to come by. I can see it. I can see it. 100%. If you ask me what that separating factor is, it's defense. What'd you say? Let me see. Rodney, Donovan Mitchell is what I see Ivy's ceiling. Yeah. However, I see Ron's ceiling as Jaylen Brown. Yeah. I would rather Jaylen Brown next to Cade and Asar than Mitchell. Okay, I can see that because of the defense. I'm a big time defense first player. You ask me, that's how I know you want it. That's how I know you're really about this life and how you play defense. If you're really about winning, that's where we see it. Offense is great. To get to a championship, you got to have defense. I'll put it this way. Ron Holland, I 100% see as a Jaylen Brown level player eventually. I think Ivy becomes just as important. And in fact, I've done a video about this, and I'll be doing more commenting on this. I think there's a strong chance that if Asar Thompson has, in fact, by my estimation, if he has grown, where he's now close to 6'8", if he's 6'8", there's a good chance we look at him as our future power forward. And Ron Holland slides in at the 3. And then you have Ivy and Cade rounding out the rest of the team with Jalen Duren. That 5 has championship written all over it. All over it. 100%. I think the Detroit Pistons need to try 100% everything in their power to keep that 5 together. Don't trade not a single one of them unless you're getting someone of more talent. Let me see. I got to wrap this up in a little bit. Appreciate everyone for jumping in. People talk about Ivy like he wasn't rivaling Cade for that top spot. Very true. Now he doesn't beat Cade in that, but he's a hell of a player, and I think he'll have a big season next year. I agree. I think he's going to have a big season. I don't think he's Cade. I don't think he'll ever get there, but he can be big time. He can be big time. He could be Donovan Mitchell level explosive scoring. Not quite. I don't think he has that in between herky jerk. I don't think he gets quite there. But if he can lock in on defense, if he could become not just an above average defender, if he could become a plus point of attack defender, and I mean Derek White reading the game, switching when you need to, crafty plays, staying within the scheme. If he can do that, if he can do that, yeah, I 100% want him next to Cade because that's the role that we need. And that's something to think about when you think about having Ron Holland next to Cade instead. Who guards opposing point guards out of those two? I don't think either of them are built to guard Jalen Brunson for a full game. Chase around Tyrese Maxey or Tyrese Halliburton. Try to press up on LaMelo Ball all game. Neither of them are built for that. I think they need a smaller guard, someone who has more fast twitch, quick twitch ability, who can get low, still has length and reach on those guys as well. That's what I foresee. But hey, this has been a dope live. Appreciate all y'all for getting on. I think the BIG-4 of the Detroit Pistons can become all four a top 50 ranked roster. Cade, Ivy, Duran, Thompson can all become top 50 players. Now, after I post this, I want you to put what you think each of their stat line can be to get there. Put it in the chat. We're going to continue the conversation there. Appreciate everyone for joining me today. Look to be on here a little bit more. Trying to be consistent. Took a couple of days off, but I'm back at it. We'll see how things continue to evolve and develop. This team is exciting. I think we should all be excited for them and see where it goes from here. With that, it's your man 100 Grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And I'm going to get at y'all next time. Oh, you said, please read my earlier comment with crying emoji. All right. I'm gonna read your comment. And then you were talking about Jaden Ivey. Oh wow. He was better than Franz Wagner. Okay. All right. We're gonna talk about it some more later. I got you, Sandro. I got you. I appreciate you though, man. Take care. I'm gonna get at y'all tomorrow. Peace.